6 o'clock. Okay, it's 6 o'clock this evening. We'll be having an informational session from Bob Bambenek, the Winona County Recorder's Office, regarding the 2021 real estate highlights, specifically for the city of Winona. Hi, Bob.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members. I'm checking the mic here. Are we okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I'm very happy to be here, and I just say to Aaron, it could only be better for about 3 months from now, and we were down at the levee, but I'm sure it'll come soon enough. I think everyone has the handout, and I would like to just present a few of the highlights to you. And then I'd also like to just say a couple of words about some of the information on the handouts and how to use them. Okay, how's this? All right. Okay, super. I only spent 6 years in radio and television, and you'd think that I would have that down, but apparently it was long enough ago that I've lost my touch. All right. Well, if anyone mentions 2021 or there's a conversation, the next word should be real estate. And a lot of the national historical agencies have already put the two together. We have had just some incredible experiences the past year. We set a half a dozen records, maybe a dozen, and it was all done late in the year. And I'm going to just tell you about a few of those real quickly. And just about all of them, with maybe one exception, are really, really positive for the city of Winona and for Winona County. So thinking about, 21 in real estate, we had demand for homes, land, and commercial properties that was unprecedented in all the experiences in our office and beyond. We had record numbers of sales, and they also produced record sale prices. The city of Winona had 433 homes that sold. I believe that that's a record. It was up 11% from just 1 year earlier when there were, what do I have in my minutes here, 373. And across the county, we had 764, and that was all the small cities, the rural areas, and that also was a record. The one thing that is an all-time record, and this reflects on the value of properties, the price ranges that we have are by $50,000 increments. The price range that, for as long as anyone can remember, that had the most sales was 100 to 150,000. In 21, it jumped to 150 to 200,000, and that's quite a jump. But we had 132 in that range, and that's quite a number. We also had 106 in that 100 to 150,000 range a year ago. So not only did we move up, but we moved up with a much bigger number. About that time, we were just doing a little talking in the office, and we every once in a while take a look at the averages. And that can be misleading, because when you get a lot of high-end sales, which we've had, the numbers can jump up, and really the realistic average is a bit lower. But go back 2 years, our average was 147,000 for a home. A year ago was 167,000, and late in 21, and no really detailed group of homes, but on just a kind of a scientific guess that we took with a number of homes, it was 211,000. And again, we had a lot of high-end sales, so that's going to push that number higher. All right, want to say that the homes that sold, 80% were above county market value. But in December, we had another thing happen that has never happened before in the history of Winona or the county. 100% of the homes that sold were above county market value. There wasn't even one exception. And you can verify that yourself with the spreadsheets that we provided. Here's another one that's really positive for the city of Winona. Out of all the homes that sold, 57% were in the city, leaving only 43% for the rest of the county. That was a jump from 51%. So you had the activity. There's some reasons behind some of that. And with the time that we have tonight, we're not going to spend too much time on it. but there have been a few people that left Winona, and of all places, a number of them went to the Twin Cities. It was family. We had some folks that had lived in their homes a longer life than what we had been experiencing previously. But the day came when it was time to move. Some of them went to assisted living, and others had family that they moved in with, but they made some homes available and a couple other things like that. So that really helped us out in the city of Winona, having a few more homes available. However, when Christmas Eve came and New Year's Eve came, there was still quite a group that had not been able to buy a home. Out of the top 4 in that group, 2 of them decided to rent long-term. The next 2 decided to rent short-term. And there's quite a group behind them that are still looking this evening. There's one thing to be said, though. If you have a home that's been well taken care of, you're going to get an unbelievably high price for it. But don't let yourself get in that position if you don't have somewhere to go. And early on, that happened to a few people. But I'm here tonight to let you know that we're short of homes. So that's one thing you want to be careful of. Just take a minute to mention a few of the commercial, and likewise, all of our areas, the homes, the commercial, the land, all of them in demand, many more buyers than sellers, and the dollars have just reached levels that probably weren't even in the imagination a year ago. Commercial sales on Peerless Chain, and this was without question probably the biggest and one of the probably best for Winona. The Peerless Chain was sold to another company in 2008. In 2021, they bought it back. And even though Peerless Chain today, we understand, is owned by a group from Japan, the buildings, the materials, and the employment are here in Winona. Peerless Chain showed how well the company was doing about 6 or 8 years ago, when an ocean vessel was taking on water in the high seas. And first on the scene was a big towboat of chains from China. But they snapped a big number of them before they almost gave up. They couldn't bring it up. Meanwhile, there were arrangements made to get chains halfway around the world from Peerless Chain in Winona, and they pulled it up. And got this story firsthand from John McCauley, who was worldwide sales for Peerless Chain. So the value of the company speaks for itself. Every day we are honored to have it in Winona. All right, let's just look at that list for a quick minute. A couple pieces of land just sold in the Walmart district. They're undeveloped. One is dead center with Walmart. It's the last one in that area. Another one is just across the street and a little bit down the street on Frontenac. And I got the sale prices there for you, beyond 560,000, 500 and let's see, 650,000. Those are some prices that we're not accustomed to seeing, but that's where the traffic is. All right, a couple other ones on here. Just want to mention on the west side, Culver sold for $3,300,000. Downtown, the former Betty Joe's for that part of that block, $750,000. Also, Pro-Built, the city bought for $580,000. You got to buy on that one. All right, the Cottage House, Carriage House, it is on Main Street, $700,000. And what we were told is that the business will continue, bread and breakfast, and so we're really pleased about that. In all of these sales, commercial sales, and I've not even mentioned, even a significant number of them, but try to pick out some that would be well known to all of us. The largest group, about 50 of them, were rental homes and apartments. On the bottom, I just listed some of the land sales that are typically in the townships and the range of prices. And I think that, if you get a minute, just take a look at those. Key to all of this is that we had 75 land sales in the county. It's by far and away a record. That's usually what we do in 2 years. So the other records, the very last day of the year, we worked well into the evening. We had 93 transactions. That's twice what we usually have in a day. I mentioned about December and the county market value. In November, we had the largest November ever in the history of the county. We had 83 sales. So it's just letting you know about the kind of activity that's going on here in the community that you're leading. And we can be very proud. All right, just quick now, time's going on. I want to mention a couple of the pages, and the one I'm looking at right now is page 2. And here's where we can see those ranges and prices. In the 150 to 200,000, 132. And it's got 117 right in back of it in that 100 to 150. But look at in 21, when you get to the other end, 350 to 400,000, 15, 400,000 and over, 23, that's 38. And if we go back just a year earlier, those same two class ranges was 25. So not only were homes in that mid price range in high demand, but there was some unprecedented demand for high end homes. And then on the right side, if you like to look at big numbers, and I was told our new finance director does, the city of Winona, and this is not countywide now, this is just city of Winona, for 21, all of those homes we talked about represents $85 million. And that's just a lot of counting. You know, we collect taxes and special fees and a whole bunch of other things. So our spreadsheet's getting a lot longer as well. All right, and that compared with 65 million just, the year before. So that's a pretty significant increase. All right, on page 3, and then there's a number of pages in back of this one. This is a spreadsheet with the city of Winona sales. And this can be very, very helpful. Many people have looked at it. If they were selling their home and they kind of wanted to get something in mind about what the price might be and what might it be based on the most current of sales. If you can think of another home or two, or you have friends and one of their homes is similar to yours and they've sold, look at this list and pretty soon you'll get some ideas, and they should be pretty timely. The first column is the parcel number, and the city of Winona, you're almost 32, but you can, with that parcel number, get a lot more information, and it's an easy way to get it, to have that number. But the location is then stated, and here's probably the two key columns, the purchase price and the county estimated market value. And you're going to see late in the year, and just go further back in this spreadsheet, it just keeps going. And see, there's a couple of them that were 100,000 above what the county had on them. My first guess is that they've done some improvement on the property, and the assessor will be out there in the next 2 months checking on that. So there's two things to be said about those, high prices. One, maybe you got a good deal, but maybe there's some more investment in the property, and the county will catch up with that, and those market values will be going up. So that's where a lot of comparison can be made, but we have had 2 years of significant increases, and the values on properties have been moved up. We'll be in for a third year. The second year is coming out. Tax statements will be out this spring. All right, jump way ahead to page 13. This is after all those residential spreadsheets. This is the commercial sales comparison. And I just referred to it pretty quickly in some of the sale locations, and they're across the community, but really there's a big number down in the Walmart district. But here it gives you the total dollars, and look at that, 2.5 times in 21 what was sold when we compare it to 20. Those are some pretty big dollar increases. In fact, the dollars themselves, what does it say, 37 million to 84 million. And then the high sale, and for 2 years running, we've had a high sale that generated employment in Winona, and the company was doing worldwide business. And if you think that we're off in a corner somewhere in Winona, look for sales like this, and it will begin to show you in a completely different story. All right, commercial sales, they're pretty much on the next page, page 14. They're very similar to the residential. They give you that parcel number, they'll give you a location, and then you'll see a purchase price and that estimated market value, the buyer and seller. But what it also does is gives you a little bit of information about what the property is. And that can be really, really helpful, especially if people are in the appraisal business. On a quick look, they might get some ideas from this list. All right, then your city clerk put this one in and said that the council is always wanting to know about vital records. So we're deviating for just a quick minute here for Monica, and we've got the marriages, birth, and deaths for the last 4 years, and we are putting together a 10-year spreadsheet for you, and you'll see what a difference there is in births and how the number just continues to go down. The deaths have remained a little bit more steady than what they were for a while. The marriages, after kind of hitting a low here in 2020, they've jumped back now in 21. And when the pandemic first hit, all of the sources of information were saying, marriages are just going to skyrocket. And it didn't happen. In fact, what many counties saw was a skyrocketing in divorces and not in marriages. So we're glad the marriages are coming back. All right, I just want to wrap this up for you with a couple of comments about 2022. We are starting the year like 21 with the absolute best interest rates in history, in the history of our country. I went back because people were saying, oh yeah, they had 2% in 1881. You know what I found? 1881, 25 and 27%. And you can go back and look year after year, and I never found anything like 2%. It's got to be the first time ever. All right, so that's good news. The poor side of it is the price of building materials. And if that would just come down a little bit, we have quite a number of people that have purchased a portion of a hillside in the county. They're working with the county. They like to build a house, but from the time they started until the time they could actually start working on the ground, those lumber prices just prohibitively kept them from moving forward. And it's really unfortunate. We could use their homes. All right, just want to add here that this is the opportunity of a lifetime. A huge Winona landlord with a large number of properties has decided to sell all of them, or at least a big number of them. We understand it's about 75. Most are apartments, and there's been a number of them that already sold. You'll see them on the spreadsheet. But here's the hope that a handful of them can be restored into a single family home. And the city of Winona has long talked about that. This might be an opportunity. Unfortunately, it probably can be done, but the dollars may be prohibitive. But we know that there's people out there looking, and we absolutely want to give them our reassurance and our support. Those homes are very much needed. If plans to do a new dorm at Winona State move forward, and granted, it won't be in the next year or two, it's going to take some time, but I think the college students are coming in closer to the university, and some of these homes, apartments at present, do have something to offer families that are looking, families that tonight are in rented living spaces because there isn't a home for them. All right, then the last thing here, and this is just absolutely solid advice. I met with some folks that didn't do this, and there's people out there that will take advantage of it. But if you're buying or selling, become very informed, and work with a professional. Don't try to shortcut a realtor or an attorney or even your accountant. Include these people and be ready to move 24 hours a day. And only by doing that and looking at similar homes and looking at this list, looking at what the realtors have, what you can find online, know what it's going to take to purchase a home. And that'll be my final comment. During so much of 2021, the first offer on the home was above the asking price. The first offer above the asking price. And where did it go from there? Very often 4 bids higher. And that will explain and help you understand, if you look at the spreadsheets, how the numbers got to where they are. So I appreciate this. I hope it's helpful. And because of COVID and we didn't have follow-up meetings regarding the housing study that was done. We've not gotten together for a while at City Hall, but we are one entity, and that you may be the city, we may be the county, but housing is one, and we want to work together on that. And in the county side, our planning director is hoping to talk with our county board in the next month about a study for the county, and I entirely support that. We need to know if some of our small communities have a few lots that can be developed. We need to try to accommodate everyone. And I'll just add, I guess I'm about 30 seconds from my time limit here. We have people today that are working at home. They can live different places, but we have people that still need to be on site. Winona County has so much to offer, including the city of Winona, especially with the bridge right here. It is very, very convenient to get to La Crosse, to get to Eau Claire, to get to Rochester. And it's just part of the bigger area that we're part of today. I talked with a group in St. Charles, 17 people there, 15 of them either working or retired from Rochester, and they're living in St. Charles. And I could go on for the next 20 minutes talking about the value of St. Charles in a home there, just like I can about Winona. So I thank you very much and appreciate being here. And I'm looking forward to hopefully having more meetings, and maybe at least mid-year, if not quarterly, we can get these spreadsheets to you. And when you get a couple of minutes, take a look. No matter what business you're in, they can be very helpful. So I thank all of you. I thank Monica, George, especially want to thank you for expressing some interest. And Mayor Sherman has just really gone out of his way to talk to me about a few things that he'd like to see. And I just really appreciate that a lot.
Thank you.
I'll do the best I can for you anytime. And I think Lucy, we work together on a lot, and I just soon keep working together. So I hope COVID doesn't get, just doesn't get too far out of hand here. Thank you all. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Bob. Does anyone have any questions for Bob? George?
Yeah, Bob, I just have one question. What I'm noticing, a lot of homes, maybe they're worth about $150,000. And I noticed the last probably 5 years, they're building these monstrosity of garages for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. They're heated, they're air conditioned. They even have bars in them. I mean, how much value does that bring to that home?
It brings value. It is in the valuations at the county, it is segregated. You will have a value for the garage. You'll have a value on the house, and you'll have a value for each building that's on the property. So we would have that. It's interesting that you said that, George, because I've noticed that.
George, that's why people don't get divorced.
Yes.
That's why those people are still married. There's women homes, there's she sheds now and he sheds, and they're all on the same property, but they're separate but equal. They're separate.
Well,
I've seen just the number of people, the number of people that my friend who does heating, he's like, I'm building she sheds and he sheds on these properties. They want to be together, but apart. They need some space.
We have a she shed, but she never goes in it. I go in it.
So you're the she.
My tenure with county recorder goes back a while, and I can absolutely affirm that I had many meetings with George's dad, and they were in the garage. Only a couple of times did I get to go to the house and say hi to Mrs., but she was always busy doing, cooking up something, mostly pies. But yeah, George, I had some delightful times with your dad. He always let me know exactly where he stood on things. And, there wasn't any guessing, and that was part of that generation. And I admired him and that a lot.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all.
Pam or Eileen, do you have any questions?
No, thank you for being here, Bob.
Thank you.
Bob, I do have one question, and that is, I see some things on these spreadsheets that I'm just curious about, and I don't want to take up the meeting time tonight. Could I call you one of these days or next week and just chat about these things?
Well, absolutely. And what I was hoping might even come out of tonight is that the mayor elaborated just a couple mornings ago about all of the projects that the city of Winona has in place. And a huge percentage of those are involving real estate. And this is something that we all work on. And I wanted to just get to Lucy and suggest to her that, we start some quarterly meetings or try to have a meeting where we get together, a couple of us from the county and the city. And if we know what's coming up, we're prepared for it. There is a lot of documentation that goes back and forth. And sometimes we have new people and it's just good to mention some of those things. And Lucy and I have a long track of working together. So I just thought maybe that'd be something that we could explore. It's just been a different world for the last 1.5 to 2 years with COVID. I try to be as many places as I could, but it's in our office. We have a lot of people coming in, and it's slower working with them because we have to maintain safety.
Very good. Thank you, Bob. Thanks, Pam. Okay, and we'll reconvene in about 5 minutes here for the city council meeting. Thank you.